It's game day. We are here. It is officially week 0 of college football. It is our game day edition of the Everything School podcast, subject to change. I'm here as always with the newly established king of Vanderbilt, the man himself. He dines with coaches and he walks with kings. It's Billy Derrick, everybody. Billy, it's week 0, baby.
It's here, man. It is here. I just told you it feels like Christmas morning, and waking up, seeing what you got, and we got 7 games and a solid slate. I know this slate of games has gotten a lot of hate, but I like a lot of the matchups. Navy, Notre Dame. You've also got Hawaii, Vandy, of course, Caleb Williams, and USC in the nightcap. So honestly, I don't care who's playing. College football is back, man, and we're talking about it. So I'm happy to be here.
I will literally watch D3 college football right now. That's the state that I am in, but it's here. We don't have to wait anymore. We are 2 days. We're literally like 2 days away. Like in 2 hours, our time, we're gonna be a day away, and it's gonna be
Mm.
awesome. Like it's crazy. It's here. It's so exciting. This is like a kid that is, you know, waking up and there's presents under the tree. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. This is the start of a long season, and I'm so excited. I've got the suit on. We're dressed up because it's game day, baby. It's college game day, and we're going to present a great college game day today. We've got 6 games to start the season out, and it's not the most loaded schedule. It's not the most loaded day of football, but it's football. That's what all that matters. It's football. So Billy, what looking at the 6 games, I know you mentioned a couple of them. Just give me
7.
your overall thoughts. Seven games. I counted 6 earlier. I bet I didn't major in math in college, so that'll point that out too. But just give me your overall thoughts of these 7 games before we dive into them.
Yeah, with all jokes aside, I said it's a solid slate. It's really not. I mean, it's I don't know if I'd say awful, because you do have some high profile programs playing. But I mean, right away, first game of the day, Navy, Notre Dame. Notre Dame, obviously a proud program. There will be a ton of Notre Dame fans. I actually know somebody that's out there, and for this one in Dublin. Obviously, Notre Dame's a huge favorite, but Navy is a team that will want to compete and want to come to play. So obviously, that's the first one that stands out. And then obviously in Nashville, Saturday night, 6:30 kickoff for Vandy and Hawaii. Vanderbilt is a 17.5 point favorite. We will talk about that one, of course. And then Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans in the nightcap on Pac-12 Network. I won't be watching that because I don't have the Pac-12 network, and that's kind of that's one of the causes of the death of the Pac-12. How is this game on the Pac-12 network? I mean, they couldn't have gotten this on ESPN or Fox or literally any other channel. But no, it's good to see college football back, and that's all that matters. And I cannot wait to talk about these matchups.
It is so fantastic. It's not great. You look at the betting lines. There's some blowouts predicted. There's a couple of close games. Not games that you would be like, man, I'm dying to watch that game. But I think all the diehard fans they're gonna be glued to their TVs. And I'm even going to uh, find a stream for that USC game. I won't give my sources away because we don't promote that, but at the same time, the Pac-12 is dead, so it doesn't really matter.
You
So
got to do what you got to do.
you got to do what you got to do, especially when you're dealing with a conference that doesn't care about their programs anymore and are eventually going to be the Mountain West. So
You said
y-
Pac-12. It's the Pac-4.
it's the Pac-4. It's the Pac West. It's the Pac Mountain West. Even the ACC didn't want you. How does that feel? That's tough. The ACC didn't want you. That's sad.
Yeah, other
Ah,
than Stanford and Cal, those are the teams they want. So
even then, I just like what you're getting is great programs, Stanford and Cal, great football programs. Combined 5 wins, I think. feels like over the last 2 years. So good
Yeah,
luck with that.
great libraries.
Yeah,
That's what
very
that's what
fant-
they'll add.
fantastic education. And if you're Clemson and Florida State, if you're going to stick around, you need easy wins anyway. So let's pad those schedules. But enough about that dead conference. It's time. Let's you talked about Dublin. Dublin, where if you look at an ancestry DNA cast ancestry test, I've got a red beard. I'm 5'4". I'm probably from Ireland, some way, somehow. But it's Dublin, baby. We got the kickoff last year. We got what was it, Nebraska NC State last, or Nebraska Northwestern last year, and the
Hmm.
fans in Ireland were electric. And now you bring the Irish to the Irish to play
Mm.
Navy. My blood is boiling because there's one way to describe this game. It's electric, up and down, any way you look at it. Notre Dame coming into this game, opening, according to DraftKings, not sponsored, 21-point favorite against Navy, the midshipmen. Got an over-under of 49.5. Notre Dame looking at a quite massive money line of minus 1,600. Massive. Billy, I'll let you talk about this Notre Dame Navy game. Give us some thoughts here.
Top of the morning to you. And from Dublin, Ireland. Of course, we both went to Father Ryan. So we are Irish. I'm Irish. I got a ton of Notre Dame fans in my family, so they're ready for this one. But yeah, first game of the day, Navy, Notre Dame. Notre Dame, Chase, is a team that struggled out of the gate last year. I mean, just an awful, brutal start for the Irish. But I really like what Marcus Freeman's doing, and I think he's got it moving in the right direction. And he found a quarterback. I mean, Sam Hartman's a real player. I saw him live last year for Wake Forest in his first game back here in Nashville against Vanderbilt, and he didn't light the world on fire, but he played well, and he did what Wake needed to win that game. So I like Sam Hartman. Notre Dame's got a really good receiver in Jaden Thomas, who I really like. They've got a monstrous offensive line led by All-American Joe Alt. So Notre Dame will be able to run the football, led by Edric Edric Austin. What's his name? Estime, Aldrich Estime, a great running back for the Irish. So I think Notre Dame's going to be able to run the football. I like them to cover in this game. That's a tough line, 20.5 with the hook there. Vegas is just begging you to take Navy to cover, because if Notre Dame wins, if they win by 2 touchdowns, you've got Notre Dame there to cover. But if they win by 20, right, and miss an extra point, something happens, that could bite you. So it's kind of a sneaky, dangerous line. But I like Notre Dame to cover. I think Notre Dame wins going away. And I think it could be, I like their defense too. I think, Marcus Freeman is a defensive guy, so he's going to have them ready to play. I don't think Navy's going to have success scoring the football. I think this could be something like, 42-10, something crazy like that. I just don't think, I don't see Navy being able to move the football. But with Notre Dame and Sam Hartman and that offensive line, they're going to run the ball, but they'll also have the ability to throw it through the air with that play action attack. So I like Notre Dame here to cover. The over under is 49. I also like them to hit the over there. I think Notre Dame's going to score. I think their offense is going to be a totally new look offense. Obviously, Tommy Reese is out. He's in Tuscaloosa with Alabama, and his former quarterback at Notre Dame, Tyler Buckner. So obviously a new look offense led by Sam Hartman. I like the Irish here to cover and win big to kick off week 0.
Looking at this game, there's just Sam Hartman. I don't know what it is about Sam Hartman, but Sam Hartman, to me, is the guy. And with Notre Dame not being in a conference, it's kind of hard to look at him as a Heisman favorite, Heisman, contender, because there's some big games. If they go on the road and win some of the games on their schedule, then yes, for sure, Sam Hartman is at the top of that conversation. But I just think he's the guy. I think He's arguably one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the country, and I don't really think he's at the bottom of top 5. I loved what he did at Wake Forest. I thought he was consistent. He was injured kind of his last year there, and he transfers over to Notre Dame. I'm a big Marcus Freeman guy. I love everything that guy talks about. I love his culture. I love everything about that Fighting Irish culture right now. And I think Freeman's a great recruiter, and he's gonna have this team going into Ireland revving. I'm talking revving. I know Notre Dame started out slow last year. This is a different team. This is a different offense. This is a different quarterback. They have a quarterback now who can actually complete a pass. So give me Notre Dame to cover. Give me Notre Dame minus 21. And I'm also going to follow you over 49.5. I think Notre Dame goes in there. I think they could put up 50 by themselves. I think Notre Dame covers this game by themselves. I think, big Navy guy, big America guy. Love Navy, love our Navy, but you're just not going to get it done against this Notre Dame team who's going to come in with, they want to start the season off hot because you got USC this year. You got Clemson this year. You got to make a statement early, get those voters talking, get the board talking. Give me Notre Dame minus 21 and give me the over 49.5. Book it. Billy, I'm also keeping up for our listeners. I'm going to keep up with our bet cards. So if you want to responsibly, I will post our bet cards out there. That way we can keep track of our picks. Because at the end of the season, we're going to crown which one of the two of us is the ultimate picks king for season
Mm.
1 of this podcast. So we're agreeing here, and I like it. I like agreeing. Both of us taking Notre Dame at minus 21. Both of us taking the over at 49.5. Billy, any more thoughts about this game? Any more perspective on it? We love Irish football in Ireland. So I
Yeah.
think that's great. It's a storyline.
Yeah, I mean that's the story. Notre Dame's going to have the home field advantage. So I think there's some pressure on them this year to avoid the bad, awful start they had of the season last year. So I would expect them to come out with some fire, some juice, some energy, some motivation. I really think Coach Freeman will have them ready to play. And Navy, I didn't mention this, but Ken Niumatalolo left after last year, so he's not there. I don't think they're going to be running the triple option. I think I heard they're moving away from that, which most teams have moved away from the triple option if they ran it before. I don't think Army is. Obviously, Georgia Tech isn't running it anymore under Paul Johnson, who did a great job there. So I think that'll be something to watch. What does Navy look like offensively? So it's a test for Notre Dame, but it's a bigger test for Navy. And so I think, for Notre Dame, that they should come in here, manhandle Notre Dame or manhandle Navy and get the job done and start their season off a lot better than they did last year.
I think a lot of college football purists would agree with me. Billy, you might agree with me as well. There's something about that triple option though. It's ugly and it's boring, but man, the triple option games, the Army Navy when they both ran it, it was so fun because you're not going to account for a lot, but you're going to get some smash mouth football, and it's fun. So
Yeah,
to see
there's
that
there's
kind of,
something there's something weirdly special about watching that.
it's
About
like
watching Army Navy with the triple option. But yeah, I'm gonna miss it just like you.
Army Navy this year is going to be fun because no one runs a triple option anymore. So I
Yeah.
guess joining the list of things that have died recently, Pac-12 conference and also the triple option. So we will remember you both fondly. But yeah, I love the triple option. I wish it would. I don't. It'll never come back just because of how high octane teams are now. Just look at, for example, Tennessee's offense. I mean, we a couple years ago we were running pro set I formation, and I thought I was ready to rip my hair out, and then all of a sudden you get this kind of offense, and you don't care what happens, honestly, because you're going to be entertained every game. And that's what we talked about it last week. You talked about it last week, especially that the everyone's really excited about TV numbers, and nothing does TV better than high octane offenses.
hmm
They I mean, TV companies would be great if every team scored 70 plus a game. But we're gonna move on to another game that's I honestly I don't know nothing about. I don't know either of these two teams very well. I know where they are located, and I know Jacksonville State beat Auburn in baseball this year to start the season off. But UTEP taking on Jacksonville State. UTEP right now is getting a 1.5 point, 1.5 point favorites for the game. The over is set at 54, and UTEP coming in at a minus 120 money line. Billy, any idea on what to do for this game?
Well, this is the first game on American soil. Good
Yeah,
trivia
yeah,
question.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
answer to a trivia question there. And you could challenge somebody with that. What's the first game on American soil? A lot of people might say, oh, right away, Notre Dame Navy. No, not so fast. That's in Ireland. So this one is the first game in American soil down there in Jacksonville, Alabama. It's going to be hot down there. 97 degrees, I think, is the high, just like Nashville for Vandy, Hawaii. But yeah, I don't know about either of these teams, but I know UTEP, similar to UTSA, has a high-powered offense, and most of these teams nowadays do in the group of five, right? Because they have no other option, right? It's just hard to find good defensive players at that level. So a lot of their offenses, that's how they're going to win games, right? So I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. The over/under is 54. Without even knowing anything about these two teams, I'll take the over. I think a lot of overs are going to hit this season in college football because the value of defense, I think, is going down. And in a group of five, there's just not very many good defenses. So I think, the offensively is where games are won and lost in college football now, especially in the group of five. So this is the second game of the day, 4:30 kick. Obviously, it's going to be hot, so the heat will play a factor. I like Jacksonville State. They're a small favorite. Minus 1.5. Do they cover that? I don't know. I'll go yes. You or no?
Yeah,
Oh
UTEP
crap!
is the favorite. UTEP is the
Okay.
favorite.
I misread that. UTEP is the favorite. So UTEP's a good team. But Jacksonville State's at home. It's going to be hot, so I give the advantage to the home team there just because they've been in their facility, they're used to it. So I'll go Jacksonville State here, plus 1.5, and I'll hit the over in this one as well. So I'll go Jacksonville State, the home of Riley Green, country music singer. He actually played there. He played quarterback there. So one of my favorite country music singers. So, but yeah, I'll go Jacksonville State plus 1.5, and I'll let the over hit over 54 as well.
It has been miserable heat wise, Billy, for the both of us here in the great state of Tennessee. This week especially has just been awful. And I think that's going to continue. Like you said, 97 degrees. I'm sure the humidity in Alabama is going to be through the roof.
Yeah.
Uh, which it's
And
going to
that's
be,
during the day, right? Vandy Hawaii is a night game, but having to
yeah,
play during the day at 4:30 in that heat, that's gonna be brutal.
yeah, it's going to be hot. So if any of our listeners are randomly going to that game, wear sunscreen and bring like an umbrella for the shade. This is going to be a hot one. Uh, man, these kind of games that I don't know nothing about, over under scare me half to death. There's always a saying that I
Yeah.
live by: your life is too short to bet the under. But I can't. I think in this game I'm going to avoid the over under, and I'm making one pick for this game. I'm going to follow you with Jacksonville State plus 1.5. I like home field advantages, and even then, but then again, you look at it, and the home team always gets three. You always give the home team three if you think it's that even of a game. So the fact that UTEP is probably, UTEP's getting 4.5 technically, if you want to look at it. Give me Jacksonville State plus 1.5. Put it down. Uh, I backed them this year in baseball, so I'm gonna do it in football. I think we're gonna do it in football. Home crowd advantage. Give me Jacksonville State plus 1.5. Uh,
I like
uh
it.
the next game on our list of football games for Saturday, we have the University of Ohio, not Ohio State, but the University of Ohio, the Bobcats, taking on the Spartans from the Aztecs from San Diego State. San Diego State coming in as a -3 favorite, over under set at 49. And San Diego State coming in at a -150 money line. Billy, I'll start us off here. I think I think I'm gonna go with San Diego State -3, and I'm gonna take the over of 49. I like, San Diego State. They've had a solid football program for the last, as far as the last 5 years, I want to say. I mean, they produce running backs like no team does besides the University of Wisconsin. Rashad Penny comes to mind a couple years ago, absolutely lighting the world on fire in the backfield. So I like what they do. I like their culture. I think it's great. So I'm gonna take San Diego State -3. Give me the over of 49. Billy, you got a pick for this game?
Yeah, another game. I just don't know really anything about either of these two teams, but I
I'm with
will
you on that
say,
one.
yeah, I will say it's in San Diego, so San Diego State has the home field advantage. Long way to travel for Ohio, so anytime you got to travel that long, that's a challenge on the road team. So I favor San Diego State here. That line of three is tough, because there's a lot of times you just win by one or, I don't know, sometimes two, 23, 21, 31, whatever it is. I don't know if I favor the three, but I'll go San Diego State to win, but Ohio to cover. Don't know why, but I'll go Ohio to cover +3, but San Diego State wins. Night game, they've got the home field advantage. I think they pulled it out. Over under 48.5. Cutting it close, but I'll hit that over. Like I said, there's just not too many stout defenses anymore in college football. So I will go Ohio +3 and the over 48.5 right now.
I think over unders for me are so fun, but they're also so scary. Like
Yeah.
you that when I don't know the spread, I usually look at if I can't pick a spread, I usually pick an over under. And that's picking over unders is scary, but it's fun because you're rooting for both teams. So if you're a
Yeah.
neutral, there's nothing better than an over under because you're gonna get to cheer on both teams. Yay offense is what we're thinking, or yay defense, depending on what side that you look at. So with the game in San Diego State, like I said, -3. You're also taking them to win, but Ohio to cover. That's our first. That's our first clash, I would say. So
Mm.
we both have opposing picks for that game. So that'll be our first showdown. Billy taking Ohio +3, me taking San Diego State -3. So that game is gonna be fun. I'm definitely gonna find a way to watch that game whatever network it's on. I don't know. Have they announced the network for that game? Billy, have
It's on
you
FS1.
it's on FS1. So I mean that's national TV. So that'll be a fun game to enjoy on Saturday. A game that might not be so fun to enjoy. The UMass Minutemen taking on New Mexico State. The game is being played at New Mexico State. State getting a 7-point spread this week, and the over under is set at 45. A little tidbit. UMass last year 1-11.
Mm.
So coming off of a very brutal year last year, I think Army beat them 44-7. So the Minutemen are looking to bounce back from an abominable year, coming into New Mexico State as a 7-point dog. Billy, give me State -7. You can't bounce back from 1-11 that quickly unless you're Tulane, but UMass is not Tulane. So I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna take my first under here. Let's do yay defense. New Mexico State -7. Give me the under of 45. Billy, what is your pick for New Mexico and the Minutemen of Massachusetts?
Ooh, how about this barn burner of an ESPN primetime game?
Woo!
UMass, New Mexico State, man. This throw the records out for this one. This is what it all comes down to. But no, I like New Mexico State. I don't know how they're only a 7-point favorite. New Mexico State must not be very good either. But I mean, UMass 1-11. My gosh, I mean that's like you said. I mean, they might win 2 or 3 games this year, but I don't know about starting the season on the road with a win. 7 points, yeah. Give me New Mexico State at home at night. Their crowd will be juiced. They get the ESPN coverage, so I'll go New Mexico State -7 to cover. But I like that under as well. I think I'm looking maybe 38-3. 35-7, maybe something like that. But yeah, I'll go New Mexico State minus the 7, but take the under there. So we agree.
Quick tidbit about New Mexico State. Last year, 7-6 and won the Quick Lane Bowl, defeating Bowling Green last year 24-19. So in this game, you have two very different storylines coming off of last year. You have a team that went 1-11 and a bowl winning team, coming off a 7-6 season, finished fourth in their conference. So yeah, I think like you said, why is New Mexico State only a 7-point favorite? Uh, is there something we're missing here? Probably, because it's New Mexico State and UMass, and I don't know if you could pay either of us to really dive incredibly deep into that game. But it's going to be fun. Like you said, primetime ESPN, 6:05 Eastern start. So you're looking at, possibly a great game. Who are we to judge completely? We're SEC guys, so I mean it's hard to really say when you're looking at this kind of game. I've lost my schedule here. Let me come back to it. Following that game, Billy, I want to hold on to this game because I want this game to be last because this
Okay.
game, it's the Hawaii Vanderbilt game, but I want to save that for last because I want to get your complete and complete insight, and I want you to just make your prediction as the last thing we hear today. I want that to be the last thing that we leave off for going into Saturday. So we're gonna go to a barn burner, the reigning, defending Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams and the USC Spartans at 7 o'clock on
Trojans.
the. Why did I say Spartans? The San Jose State is the
Yeah,
Spartans.
they're the Spartans versus the Trojans.
We're just getting off work, so it's a long, crazy day. But USC Trojans coming up with Lincoln Riley again, back for year two, at the helm of the Trojans. The Pac-12 network, as we talked about before. Uh, how are we going to watch that game from a dead conference? But hey, we're going to keep up with it from ESPN, keep up with it play by play. USC, a massive 30.5 point favorites. The over under at 67. Billy, you lead us off for this USC San Jose State game.
It's funny, like this is on the Pac-12 network, the only channel that's not, readily available without making a payment, without having to pay for it. And you look at some of these other matchups. I mean, UMass Mexico State's on ESPN. How could they not have put USC on ESPN at prime time? I don't understand that. I guess New Mexico State paid more money to get that. I don't really understand that. But yeah, the Spartans and the Trojans, great nickname matchup. 7 o'clock. This is at the Coliseum. So I've always liked watching games at that stadium on TV, although I won't be watching this, of course. Vegas expects a lot of points in this game, and most of them to come from USC because the line is 30.5. So that's a lot of points. Like that's a ton of points. But the quarterback for USC is a guy named Caleb Williams, who's pretty good at this sport of football. So I can't wait to watch him. Mostly highlights worth. But yeah, I like USC here. I like them to cover. And why the hell not, man? I mean, 66.5. That is a lot of points. But I think they set it at 66.5 because USC's defense is putrid. I mean, they were not very good last year. They can't tackle. So I think that Vegas looks at this game as being, sort of a 48-21 type game. I think where USC wins going away. I mean, maybe even like 55-17 or, something crazy like that where the over hits, but USC also covers. So I like USC to cover. I like the over. That's a lot of points to be scored in one game. So, I mean, there's going to be some pressure on these offenses to hit those marks. But yeah, Caleb Williams is set for a big year. Defensively, I don't know how good they are. I don't think that'll matter, though, against the Spartans of San Jose State. So give me USC big here in the nightcap.
San Jose State coming off of a 7-5 season last year. Not bad, not bad. Not as good as USC's season from a year
That's what makes
ago.
me nervous. Like San Jose State's a decent team. They're not, they didn't go 1-11 last year. So I don't know. That's why that 30 and a half scares me a little bit. Because San Jose State's not, I mean, they're a cupcake, but I don't know if they're a slouch or, a pushover. But yeah, I'll go USC to cover.
So you have USC at minus 30.5. Yeah, big spreads scare me half to death because that gives you
Yeah.
so much room to
No matter who it
backdoor.
is.
Yeah, garbage time scores. It's just there's a plethora of things that can happen late in a college football game. I'm gonna fade you here. I'm gonna go wildly. Give me San Jose State plus 30.5 to cover. But I'm gonna take the over in this game because, like you said, USC's defense was awful last year. USC's defense couldn't stop anybody that they went up against, and that's gonna be a story heading into this year for the Trojans. And I think that's what's gonna make or break their college football playoff chances because like we said, you have Caleb Williams, you have weapons like Brendan Rice at wide receiver, you have an offensive armory that's loaded with talent. But what is that defense going to get you? Because as we both know, the saying goes, defense wins championships. And I think that is what is going to be the make or break thing for USC. Because if the defense shows up and they play solid, USC is going to win the Pac-12. USC can make the playoffs. If the defense does what they did last year, USC is going to struggle to contend with teams like Utah, who had their number last year. They honestly might struggle with quarterbacks like Michael Penix and Bo Nix. Both of those guys are going to torch a poor defense. So it's going to be it could be a story of two seasons for USC. So I like San Jose State to get off to an early. I think games like this, the last couple years to me, it sticks to a script. This game's going to start close for at least 2 or 3 drives, and then something's going to happen. USC is going to have a big turnover on defense. San Jose State is going to go for it on fourth down, and I get it. But I think momentum swings are going to be crazy. I like a backdoor cover here. Backdoor cover, garbage time touchdown to make it like 30 or 29. Something crazy. Give me San Jose State plus 30.5. And the over was at 69, I think. Nice. 67.
Let's
67.
see. Yeah.
So 67. Give me over 67. San Jose State plus 30.5. Uh, Billy, I looked at these two teams' records from last season. We have FIU and Louisiana Tech. Now, you want to talk about UMass going 1-11 last year. Well, don't worry, because this could be the game to end all games for week 0. Because, well, in terms of last season, you have 4-8 Florida International taking on 3-9 Louisiana Tech. From both of those records are from last season. Louisiana Tech coming in as an 11.5 point home favorite with the over under set at 58.5. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this out there because the week 0 is a little hard for, I think, me at least, because my mind is completely set on SEC right now and some of the bigger conferences. I will watch lower conference games, but I haven't done my due diligence yet for the smaller conference games. We will get into those as the season goes on. But give me FIU plus 11.5. I don't know why, but I like it. I like FIU coming in on the road at 8 o'clock. It is the official last game of week 0. Give me 11.5 because that'll be the only thing on. So all eyes will be on them. I'm sure some of the other games will be finishing up, but at that point, we're looking at blowouts probably for both of the 6 o'clock games. So yeah, give me FIU plus 11.5. And you know what, Billy? Life is too short to bet the under. Give me the over 58.5.
I like it. I like the respect for FIU. They didn't have a very good season last year, but they got a really good head coach, Mike McIntyre, who he's the uncle of quarterback at Brentwood Academy, George McIntyre, who's he's gonna make his choice for whatever school he wants to go to. One of the best quarterbacks in the country. But yeah, Mike has done a really good job at FIU. Last season, they posted a 400% increase in victories from the previous season, and they had the most wins in program history since 2019. 8 FIU players earned all-conference USA honors, so they've got some talent there. Louisiana Tech is another good program, right? I think Skip Holtz is the coach still there, has done a really good job. So a couple of really good coaches going at it down in Louisiana on a Saturday night. Yeah, it's tough to take plus 11.5. It's not an easy pick, but I'm gonna do it. I respect Coach McIntyre in this program. I think they'll be ready to play. I don't know about that over under. It's a lot of points. I'm gonna fade you here on the over under. I'll go under 59 for FIU Louisiana Tech. I don't know. I think Louisiana Tech probably wins, but I like FIU to go down there and fight and compete, scratch and claw like Panthers do. So I'll go with FIU plus 11.5, but under 59.
I think my earliest memory of Florida international football, they were playing Miami. I think I was about 7. This is a weird reference, but there's a bench clearing brawl, and when you see that at 7 years old, you think it's the coolest thing ever. So yeah, FIU gets into bench clearing brawls in my lifetime. So I think they're gonna, get into a brawl here. Give me plus 11.5, like you said. Um, and it's time now. It's time, Billy. I know you've been waiting for this for months. After last season, you've been to fall camp. You've seen this team practice. You've seen this team scrimmage, and it's finally go time. It is finally go time for your Vanderbilt Commodores. 6:30 kickoff at home in Nashville against the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Billy, it's all yours. The stage is yours. Enlighten us.
Well, I appreciate the words there, but yeah, I've done a lot of research on Hawaii, and I'll get them out of the way first. I'll start with their head coach. Timmy Chang played at Hawaii. They struggled last year, of course. They only won 3 games. They went 3-10, but he's got another year, another off season under his belt. They switched offenses about midway through the season last year. They started running the run and shoot offense, and they established their quarterback, a young kid. He was a sophomore last year, Braden Shager, and he showed some flashes late last season to be a quarterback that can have success with this run and shoot offense. So I think he's a good player, but I don't think it's enough for Hawaii to be competitive. And I think second half, fourth quarter is where Vanderbilt will probably take control of this game. And another thing to watch is Hawaii, and I don't know if you call it jet lag, but I mean they traveled over 4,000 air miles just to get to Nashville, right? And round trip, that's almost 9,000 miles, to head back to Hawaii. They're traveling a lot this year, right? They got to travel for a lot of their games. Are they sort of bogged down? And you have the other storyline of all the tragedy going on in Hawaii right now with the devastating wildfires. So prayers up to that community. I think Coach Lee had a really classy quote about honoring them. Vanderbilt's going to they announced that a portion of the proceeds for each ticket sold will be donated to the Maui Strong Fund. So, of course, they'll be motivated. I mean, not Miami, Hawaii is going to be fired up to play in this game. I just don't think it'll be enough to cover that spread. And then for Vanderbilt, Chase, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the defense. We know what they're going to do on offense. They're going to score points this year, led by A.J. Swan. They've got some really good receivers. But defensively, how much better can they be, right? Hawaii has a good running back, Ty Hines. He's their featured back. He was really good last year. But how much better is Vanderbilt? Not only up front, but especially on the boundaries at corner. We've talked about that. I think that'll be a question mark this season. So in Hawaii with that run and shoot offense, you never know. If Hawaii starts fast and they put a couple of touchdowns on the board in the first half and Vanderbilt struggles, maybe turns the ball over on offense, this could be a game in the first half. It was last year. I mean, Vanderbilt, started off asleep in that game last year, and Hawaii scored the first touchdown, first possession of the game. And then, of course, Vanderbilt scored 35 points in the third quarter and pulled away. So I think something similar could happen. Again, Hawaii riding high, motivated. They want to defend, and they want to play for their native homeland that has been derailed. And I think they will. I think they'll play well. I just think Vanderbilt is a better, deeper, more talented team. And I see them, Chase, I look at the fourth quarter. I look at the fourth quarter for Vanderbilt to just pull away, and Hawaii is just depleted. It's going to be hot. 97, I think, is the high. Thank God this game is at night. I might just deny a credential if this was during the day and just say, no, I don't really feel like dying of a heat stroke in this heat. But so yeah, it'll be hot, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see what this Vanderbilt team looks like. I like them to cover minus 17.5. The over 56 sort of scares me. Vandy's offense is going to put up some points, and I know they put up 63 last year. I don't know. But then again, Hawaii's going to score too. So I'm looking at something like a 45-17, something like that, where Vanderbilt doesn't really shut them out. I think Hawaii will get a couple of touchdowns on the board. I just think Vanderbilt will double that. So I like Vandy in this game. It'll be fun to have it in Nashville. We'll see what that stadium looks like with all that construction going on, and is that a distraction? Probably not. But how is it for fans? I mean, I think there will be some Vandy fans eager to see hopefully how easy it is to get in and out of that stadium and kind of prepare for a lot of the big SEC home games. But Clark has talked about just being gritty, and he'll drop the football down and play in a parking lot, and he's talked a lot about that. So I think they'll be ready to play. They're going to try to avoid a slow start. They started very slow in that game last year. Hawaii is an improved team. I mean, they won a few games down the stretch of last season. So Vanderbilt cannot fall asleep at the wheel here, or Hawaii will pounce. They've got a good offense, good head coach, some decent weapons, and a quarterback that they like. So Vanderbilt has to come and play well. I think they will. I think they cover here, Chase. 17.5. I've heard some people saying, why is Vandy favored by 17.5 over anybody? I mean, let's face it, this Hawaii team was really, really down last year, and they're still down. But I just think I think Vandy wins. I think they come out firing. I like them to cover 17.5. And I like that over just barely. Like that over to hit as well.
Well, consider me on the bandwagon as well, because I'm going to follow you. I'm going to take 17.5 for Vanderbilt. It's hard because, like you said, there's a lot of motivation going in for the Hawaii team. They've been going through a lot. I know I forget the young man's name, the player for Hawaii, but I know he lost some family members during this fire, and
Yeah.
he's back on the field. He's been practicing with the team. So there's a lot of emotions going on in that locker room, and sometimes it's hard to play a game when you're going through that stuff, and sometimes those teams come out and they dominate. It's a tricky situation dealing with stuff like that. So it is hard not to take Hawaii at plus 17.5, just from what's been going on and their motivations behind this game. But you factor in it's a long travel. This is a long haul from Hawaii to Nashville. Uh, that you would have to think that has some effect on your sleep, the way you operate during the normal day. And I like Vanderbilt this year. I think Vanderbilt under Clark Lee has gotten so much better than it was under Derek Mason. I think the recruits have been great that he's been able to bring in. I like the guy. I like the guy a lot. I've heard him talk here and there. I've seen some clips from him. I think he's just a hard-nosed coach. And I'm a big guy. I'm a big fan of hard-nosed coaches. Like you said, drop the ball in a parking lot and play. That's great. That's what college football needs, more
Mm-hmm.
of that. Just guys who are just ready to run through a brick wall. And I would assume that half of, if not more of that Vanderbilt team is ready to run through a brick wall for their head man. So yeah, give me Vanderbilt minus 17.5. I think it's gonna be a good game. 17.5 is a big spread, but you can also have good games at 17.5. And I think
Yeah.
Hawaii's gonna put up an entertaining fight. And Timmy Chang, legendary Hawaii quarterback, from back in the 90s, he's gonna come out and he's gonna want a big win too. So expect this game. For me personally, I expect this game to be close first half, like you said, pull away in the fourth quarter. I kind of see that going as well. I think Vanderbilt at the end of the day is going to be too much for Hawaii, and they get the job done at home to open the season at 1-0 and cover at 17.5. I like the over of 56 as well. I think last week you said Vanderbilt could uh, touch the over by themselves, and I think they could, and I think they probably will. I see Vanderbilt, possibly scoring in the 50s. Well, they put up 60 last year, correct?
63. Yep.
Yeah. So they put up 63, and I would argue that this offense is better than that offense of last year. Uh,
That's a good
so
point. Yeah.
so I think Vanderbilt puts up scores in the 50s. I think uh, that goes a long way in this over under a 56. But yeah, I think Vanderbilt is gonna have a good year this year. I'm excited about Vanderbilt football. And I think, by the way, you talk about construction. Y'all have been getting a lot of crap on Twitter for the construction.
Hmm.
X, sorry, X. Twitter's not a thing anymore. X, about the construction. I don't know. It is distracting for sure, but at the same time, you got to do it at some point.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
t-
mean, it's progress. I mean, what I don't know what people expect them to do. They've put a $300 million investment into their football program, and they're starting to actually act like an SEC football program. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I've joked about it. But at the end of the day, you've got to respect, their work, and you've seen it. I mean, it is a construction site, and it will be interesting to see, how efficient it is for people to get in and out of that stadium. I wouldn't want to be one of their staff members. I mean, they've probably had some sleepless nights about, how do we prepare for this? But it's a good thing that they get this opportunity to do it, before Kentucky, Auburn, Georgia come to town, and invade Nashville, like they always do. So, yeah, it's gonna be hot. I saw that where there might be a stray storm, potentially as well. So hopefully the rain stays away. Dear God. And then yeah, but by the fourth quarter it'll be down to the mid 80s, I think. So it'll cool off a little bit. So a lot of people talking about the heat. Yeah, it'll be hot at kickoff, but it'll get down. That's not going to be as much of a problem. Maybe on the field for warmups when the sun's still out, but with the sun going down, I don't know that that heat exposure will be as big of a problem as a lot of people think it will be. But yeah, I'm excited, Chase. It'll be fun to see. Like I said, this team, what they look like, how excited they are. Same with Hawaii, though. I mean, they've got some momentum, like you said, and some motivation to play for the lives lost, and it's a cool story. I mean, to see what they can do, maybe give a distraction to a lot of their fans and friends and family back home, to get them away from thinking about all the tragedy. So yeah, I like I said, I like Vandy though, to cover in this one.
so that wraps up week 0, our week 0 slate. Billy, there's a couple games Thursday. We kind of getting into the nitty gritty on Thursday. I know there's a couple games that you wanted to talk about on that date. I know next week, with the way we record sometimes, it'll either be on Wednesday night and Thursday night. So we're just gonna go ahead and get these two games covered while we have the chance. The first one is going to be the Connecticut Yukon Huskies taking on the Wolfpack from North Carolina State. I just have the spread right now. I don't have the over unders yet because I think it's a little too early for the over unders. But you got NC State opening up this game as a 15-point favorite. UConn coming off of a improved season last year with head coach Jim Mora. We talked about this off air. Jim Mora has been fantastic so far for UConn. They're not world beaters, but he's building. Rome wasn't built in a day, and UConn probably will not be built in a day either. I said this to you earlier. I'm a big UConn guy. I don't know why. I love I love the color scheme. I guess from a couple years ago playing NCAA football 14 with UConn. So it's just kind of transitioned Billy, I'm gonna let you take the lead here with NC State and UConn. Any ideas of where you see this game going?
Yeah, first off, UConn, as you mentioned, under Jim Mora, yeah, they haven't, they haven't been world beaters, but he's done some things at UConn that, a lot of people didn't expect. And when he took that job, there are a lot of people saying, what in the world are you doing? Taking the UConn football job. But people forget they actually do have a little bit of a history of being, decent, at football for, at least a couple years, maybe 3-year period. But yeah, I mean, I like them. I don't know if they cover. I like them to cover though. I keep looking at that saying, man, NC State, they lost Devin Leary, to Kentucky. You never know, what to expect with a team that just lost their quarterback. I think they've got a guy, Brennan Armstrong from Virginia, who was good, but more so inconsistent last year. So I like Dave Doran though, but yeah, I'll go. Give me the Huskies. Give me the Huskies to cover 15 there. Over under, I don't know. I'll go over. 47 is kind of low. I like NC State to win. It's at UConn. I don't really think that means anything. I don't know that their fans go go to those games, but no, yeah, give me UConn to cover at home at night, Thursday night. Might actually be a decent crowd. But yeah, I like NC State to win. I think Armstrong's a good player. He's a veteran guy. And they've got some decent weapons for them. I think they've got a good defense as well. So I like NC State to win, but give me the Huskies to cover there on a Thursday night.
You said did you say under 47? I'm getting this
Uh,
down for our bet cards, or did you want to touch
I
the
think I
under
ended up.
over?
I think I ended up going over
Over
there.
47. Okay. All right. I
Yeah.
like that pick. I'm with you. I'm taking UConn. Like I said, big UConn guy. Oh, do I? Oh man. I'm gonna be bold because it's week 0 leading into week 1. There's not a perfect time to be bold than right now. There's never a more perfect time than right now to be bold. Give me UConn plus 15, but Billy, give me UConn money line. Give me the
Ooh.
Huskies at home. Now, granted, NC State after Devin Leary got hurt last year, Devin Leary missed a lot of the season last year, and NC State was not good when Devin Leary was not in the backfield. They got beat. They had some bad losses last year. They had some close games that shouldn't have been close games when Leary wasn't playing. So I like everything Jim Moore has done so far with UConn. It's just it's staring me in the face, and there's not a better time to pick UConn this season than now. So give me UConn money line to knock off really the first big upset I would say for the season. UConn takes out NC State. If I could do alternate spreads, give me UConn. I think UConn wins by 3. UConn wins by 3 or more. I think
That
book
is
it.
bold.
It is bold, but I love it. I love UConn. Jim Mora. It's you look at him and you follow him on his social media. He's kind of like, to me he's like a Clark Lee guy. He's a hard nosed old school guy. Uh, and I'm on those bandwagons this year. So UConn upsetting NC State. And another game on Thursday. Billy, looking at this game, looking at the spread, this spread is ridiculous. Utah
Mm-hmm.
taking on the Florida Gators. The game this year is in Utah. Last year they played in the swamp. Florida was victorious last year thanks to Anthony Richardson being Anthony Richardson. Utah -5. We've got to talk about Florida during this off season leading up into this week with our over under totals. The over under for win totals at 5.5. We both are very down on Florida this year. I think a lot of people are very down on Florida this year. But 5 doesn't Utah with a 5-point spread doesn't say that. Especially being at home, it doesn't say that Vegas is that far down on Florida. I know 5 is not like a small spread, but it's not where I thought this would be at. I was coming into this week thinking 10.5, 11 maybe. Utah, Cam Rising is back. Utah's poised for a big season after winning the Pac-12 last year. There's a lot at stake here. So I'm gonna go Utah big. You call me, you can call me. People can say I'm crazy for that, but Utah big. I don't think Florida. I don't think they're going to be great this year, and I don't think the season starts off well with Utah. You talk about a team that struggled to score in a spring game. Like you look at their spring
Yeah,
game highlights, and it was abysmal. And it's probably the worst spring game that any Power Five conference has ever put out. And you've got
yeah.
Grant
No, no, go ahead.
you've got Grant Mertz from Florida. Grant Mertz struggled at Wisconsin, and he looked abysmal in that spring game. And I know Anthony Richardson is hard. He's a hard guy to replace. But at Florida, Billy Napier should be. They had the Rashada. They had Jaden Rashada, who, by the way, just got announced as Arizona State's starting
Yeah.
quarterback for Week 1. You had him basically locked in to this team, and he walked away because you bungled the NIL deal. So now you could have had a 5-star All American, potentially All American, true freshman starting for you this season, and now you're left with Graham Mertz. That's tough. So give me Utah big. The over unders at 45. Give me over 45.
Yeah, give me Utah as well. That over under is hard though because I don't think Florida's going to score, man. I mean, I don't know that they'll get shut out, but I could see this being like a 31-10 type game, or maybe, something like that where, yeah, Utah wins, but maybe the over under doesn't hit. But I love Utah in this game. I mean, number one, they've got the motivation after what happened last year in Gainesville. They got their quarterback back, their head coach. They've got continuity there. They know exactly what they want to do on offense. They're at home. It's a Thursday night game on ESPN. Utah is going to be jacked up. In Florida, I don't see the talent in Gainesville. I don't. I mean, Graham Mertz from Wisconsin. I mean, are you kidding me? Like that's the guy you go get. I know they missed out on Rashada, but I mean, that was their own fault. They screwed that up, like you said. So they're in a tough spot. A ton of pressure on Billy Napier this year to prove he's better than what they did last year. But yeah, hammer Utah here. I might put my mortgage on the Utes here. I mean, they're at home, like I said. So yeah, give me Utah. I'm not a fan of Florida at all this year. They may not get blown out here. Like I could see them maybe potentially covering. I just don't think they're going to score. I don't see. I mean, they might be one of the worst offenses in the conference this year. So I might be sort of overkilling it there on the downslide of Florida. But I mean, I don't see the talent, man. I don't see the same players they've had. So I'll go Utah -5, but I'll go under just because I don't think Florida's going to score. And Utah's not really they're a good offense, but they typically don't light the scoreboard up. So I'll go Utah -5, but under 45.
I'm with you on the not seeing the Florida talent. I know I've kind of went on a little bit of a rant there about Florida, but I don't the way which I know you look at the recruiting class for next year. They're doing great. Napier is doing great on the recruiting trail, heading into 2025, technically 2024, correct? So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Napier was the right fit for Florida. He's a Louisiana Monroe, Louisiana Lafayette, Raging Cajuns was the
Mm-hmm.
stop before he came to Florida. I know Tennessee was considering him. He's from Tennessee, but I don't know if he was the answer after you move on from Dan Mullen. Uh, but I just don't know what Napier's long-term goal is at Florida. This is a program that's used to winning. They've been before Georgia kind of took off. Florida was running the East. I mean, they were getting stomped by Bama in SEC title games, but they were getting to the SEC title game. And they've kind of taken a big fall off heading into this season, at least. Uh, so yeah, I like Utah. Uh, the spread's at 5. I'm gonna take Utah at 9. Randomly 9, but I like Utah at 9.
Okay.
Billy, looking at the games that we've discussed for week 0 and the first couple big games for week 1, do you have give me your golden pick, the pick that you are uber confident about and you would bet, you're like you said, put the mortgage on it. Do you have a golden pick?
That's a really good question. Because I've said that about a few picks. Let's see here. You know, I don't know, man. I like UConn. I like what Jim Moore is doing. 15, that's a lot of point. I mean, that's 2 touchdowns in a 2 point conversion. I mean, that's NC State might easily cover, and I could look like an idiot here, but UConn, I mean, I might say that's my golden pick. That's my lock of the week, and it feels crazy me saying that. And I know it's technically week 1, not week 0. So that, I guess, for week 1, that's my lock. At least, looking at the games we talked about tonight. Week 0, if I had to pick one, honestly, man, USC. I know it's a lot of points. I think they're going to bludgeon San Jose State. And that over. I mean, I like that pick a lot. I think that'll hit. So I don't know. There's not a ton of lock opportunities. I mean, I might say Notre Dame maybe, but yeah, I'll go for week 0 USC lock of the week minus 30.5, and then early look at week 1 Thursday night slate. Give me the Huskies, man. I like Jim Mora. So those are my locks for the next couple of weeks.
You will like my lock for week 0. Vanderbilt 17.5. That is my official lock for week 0. Big Clark Lee guy right now. Billy, I think ever since we started doing this podcast, I've gained quite an affection for the bald head over there in Nashville. So yeah, lock of the week, Vanderbilt minus 17.5 for week 0. I'm gonna back you for the games that we talked about. For week 1, I like UConn plus 15. No, you know what? You know what, Billy? We talked about being bold. My lock is UConn over NC State. So for the Thursday night slate, the games that we've got to cover, next week we'll get into Friday night games, as well as the Saturday games. But yeah, that's my lock for Thursday. UConn winning. And if it happens, I will be very elated. Very, very elated because like you said earlier, bold pick. And I like it. I like getting off to a wild start. College football. That's what college football is for, is to just be wild. So UConn money
Mm-hmm.
line lock for Thursday. Um, this has been a great pick show. Expect us to do this basically every week. We'll discuss our picks, give you our locks of the week, as well as recap the previous weekend's action. So I hope you're enjoying all of this college football talk. We have a YouTube channel, the Everything is School podcast. Like I said, subject to change, maybe. Big news coming soon. So for right now, you can find us there. We're getting a Twitter page uploaded. I think we're gonna have a Facebook page, Instagram page. So find us on our social medias. I'm gonna start linking those down below when we post these YouTube videos because it's college football season, and I will say that we will deliver a very strong college football. Not even college football. We get college sports. Like, we're big sports guys. We love basketball. We love baseball. And we're just everything college. College game day, baby. That's what this is behind us. So stay tuned. Big things coming. Uh, Billy, anything else you want to say before we clock out this week?
And subscribe to the YouTube channel, right? And then we got a new rebrand name coming. So again, we want to enjoy it. We want to talk football with y'all, and enjoy it with us. Whether you're working, running, working out, driving long distance, check out our pod, and we will keep it rolling.
This has been fun for week 0. Football's here, baby. Wake your parents up. There's presents under the tree. There's no more cookies left. Santa's ate the cookies. Santa's drank the milk. And Santa has left the building. We will see you guys next week for a full recap of week 0. Thank you guys so much.